What is up, everyone out there on Facebook, YouTube, and any other streaming platform you're watching? I am your host, Dr. Jason Pape, chiropractor extraordinaire, bringing you education, information, motivation, inspiration on the regular. And tonight is like every other night when I do those amazing things. Tonight, we are going to talk about an amazing thing called allergies and why they're not just seasonal. It's about understanding the toxic loads. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. So for those of you who don't know me, Dr. Jason Pape, chiropractor extraordinaire, bringing you education, information, motivation, inspiration on the regular, as I said earlier. If you've never seen me before, please put number 1 in the comments below. If you have seen me before and have come back for more, please feel free to put a number 2. What is up, Lydia? And if you say hello while we're live, I'll even say hello back. But we do go back and make sure we respond to all comments. So please feel free to, whether you're watching live or replay, to drop a comment, question, whatever you may want. And if you are watching replay, replay. Let me pull a couple things up. So let me go to our QR codes and drop up our follow us link tree. So if you want to follow us on any of the socials, that you can click on right there to get us all filed up. I'm even going to put it on the thing below, because if you don't know who I am, that is me. Bam! Dr. Jason Pape, Doctor of Chiropractic at the Vitality Center. And I am a chiropractic functional medicine doctor, and I'm here to teach you guys everything I can from the world of what I do. So I'm going to put some of our conversation stuff there. All right. So, and for those of you, if you are local to Long Island, New York area, we are located right in Hop Hog in the Vitality Center, one-stop holistic shop for anything you guys need. So tonight, folks, we're going to talk about allergies because it is that time. It is that time of year where people start suffering with seasonal allergies more. And we're going to talk about why that may be and what they can do about it, because it's not just about the environment. It's about how your body responds to the environment. That is the issue. So it's not just because, oh, there's pollen in the air, I must have symptoms. It's about, well, what's going on that's making you symptomatic to those things. And yes, sometimes we have issues where we have an allergy, but we can control them. What's up, Stephanie? What's up, Jean Marie? So let's get started. So I'll give you a personal story. So I have, or I'll say I had, very bad seasonal allergies. So, but I don't really suffer from them anymore because I avoid certain foods that make my allergies occur, meaning dairy, wheat, soy, right? I talk about not eating. That's the German 3 for those of you watching Glorious Bastards. Because when I realized that those foods were inflammatory to me and my body, when I took them out, my body had a different reaction to the environment. So I really don't have those symptoms anymore. That's the cool thing. So, well, how is that possible? Well, if I went outside in the middle of May during, yellow death, when there's just like the green death, as I call it, actually, where there's pollen just everywhere and just a layer and everything, and I had an ice cream cone, I'd probably be in trouble, right? Because I'd be taking a load on my system that I can't handle on top of the allergen and make me have symptoms. Gene, thank you so much for sharing. And again, if you want to do what an amazing person like Gene is doing, is you could share this out. That's a good way to say thank you and let anyone else know about this. So if you are suffering from allergies, anyone else who's suffering from allergies, who would like to see us and learn more about maybe how they can control it without having allergy shots and tons of medications like Zyrtec and things like that, this is the video for you. So let's just put on the slides. I really love this watercolor look that my staff put together here. There's our information. So why am I so sensitive? That is a picture. I think it's supposed to be Zorn sneezing, but I don't think it's Zorn. I think it's a dog. It looks like Zorn. Why am I so sensitive? Why so serious? Again, not everyone reacts to the same allergens. It's an AI Zorn. Sorry. It's not just about the allergen. It's about how full your body is and your immune system is overreacting because it's overloaded. Little scale picture here on the side. Let me move. Can I do this? Will this be better? Let me swap me and these things here. There you go. So you can still see me and see the slide nicely in our cool background. All right. See a little scale there on the picture on the side there. Again, when does your scale get out of balance? So there's something called homeostasis. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of homeostasis before, but basically what that is that it's balance. Your body should be in balance. When you're in homeostasis, your body's in balance. When you're in immunostasis, your immune system specifically is in balance. What's up, Alicia? My old time producer down in Delaware. Thank you for jumping on. and a longtime friend. So we're talking about homeostasis and balance, right? And if things get out of balance, like that scale, right, things go wrong. So when you are sick, when you have a symptom, when something's wrong, when you have an illness, it's because your system is out of balance. You are no longer in homeostasis or immunostasis if you're talking about being ill. And what your body does, it tries to get back to balance. And that sometimes causes you to get symptoms, right? So when you get a cold or you get the flu or something like that, it's not because you just got exposed to this germ and you got sick. It's because your immune system was out of balance. It allowed something into your body that tipped the scale, and then your body reacted to that thing to bring you back into balance. Okay? So when we talk about immunostasis, that's what we're talking about. So when you get sick, that's your body actually trying to rewrite the ship. All right. So if I was sitting here with 20 people and one person had the flu and some of us got sick, some didn't, what would be the difference, right? It's the same germ. It's because some people have better homeostasis than others. People have better balance, less on their plate. It doesn't take much to push them over the edge. Some people, they're sitting right at that teeter-totter at the edge, and something last little bit comes on and pushes it out of balance. You get sick and the body says, oh, we got to fight this thing off. And it tries to push back the other way before it balances back out. And that just doesn't happen with illnesses. It happens with anything else. And when you have an allergy, especially to a seasonal area, that is a response to the environment but it's because your system's out of balance that's being overloaded by that allergen. Now, listen, that's not to say people with like a really bad peanut allergy or something like that, it's because they're out of balance. They have a peanut and it pushes them with it. No, and if they were out of better balance, they wouldn't have a peanut allergy. No, what I'm saying, there are some real anaphylactic type allergies, but when we talk about, most of the time we talk about things like seasonal allergies, it's not that you're not allergic to the system, just to the environment. It's about how bad is your system that allows you to be allergic to the environment. Because listen, some people just aren't. Some people's immune systems are not sensitive to those pollens, right? But some people can have a weaker or no reaction to the same thing they would have reaction to normally if their overall cup wasn't too full. So let's go back in there. I'm glad Regina agrees with me that it makes sense. So total load theory, right? Your body's like a bucket. Each stressor adds to the level of the bucket. And that can be a lot of things: diet, toxins, stress, allergens. And when the bucket overflows, symptoms show up. So we can use a bucket, we use a cup, right? There's only so much you can put in before it spills over, right? So what's in your cup, folks? What's in your bucket? What kind of crap is in your bucket? And the more garbage on your system, the more goes in there. And now there's really three places we can get all that stuff. And that's things like stress. So emotional, chemical, physical. All right. So I was just informed that my next slide tells me more of that. So I'll go to the next slide. Boop, boop, boop. I can't remember all the slides. Right. We talk about internal sources and external sources, right? External can be environmental toxins, things like cleaning products, pesticides, even allergens. Internal sources can be poor diet, gut imbalance, emotional stress. So let's go into what those things are. So it's about emotional, physical, and chemical, right? Emotional, if you're stressed, if your body is or mentally or you're stressed, your system can only hold on to so much before it may hit a threshold, right? There's physical stress, right? One example of physical stress would be pain, right? Whether it's your back hurts, your spine's misaligned, things like that, anything that's interfering in the physical signals of the body can lead to weakness and imbalance. That's why I talk from a chiropractic standpoint. I always talk about maintenance care for patients because, it's important to go to the chiropractor or someone like myself. Your neck hurts, your back hurts, your knee hurts, whatever. We can help with an acute injury or even a chronic injury. But why would you keep going back when you're not in pain? Because it's not just about the pain. Because, right, the absence of pain is not the presence of health. It's about the fact that you don't know how much load is in your cup. You only know so much. And the goal is to minimize that load. So chiropractic care relieves the spine of subluxation and allows the brain and body to communicate without interference. The body can function optimally, right? That highway that your spine is, along your spine, is running without interference. The body is more likely to be healthy. So we have found, what I've seen in my practice, okay, is that patients who do chiropractic care regularly have less problems, bounce back quicker if they do have a problem, and they're usually healthier, okay? One of the things that I attribute to why I've really been sick in the last 30 years is chiropractic care. Because before I had COVID in 2021, I wasn't sick for 26 years. No cold, no nothing. All right. And part of what I think that was due to was because of chiropractic care that I got on the regular, and I still get on the regular. So go see your chiropractor, whether it's me or someone else. Lydia says, I never took a flu vaccine, and this is the first year I got the flu. I was shocked. But then again, I do have a compromised immune system, but thank goodness that you had a protocol for me and I healed very quickly. Thank you. So I don't treat, cure, or diagnose any kind of disease like that, but I do have recommendations that patients can use to help support their body's own natural processes and immune system. And a lot of times it helps them get better when they are ill. But I'm not treating the flu, just so you all know. And a flu vaccine doesn't stop the flu. If anything, it'll give you more likely to have the flu. So don't get a flu vaccine. It's ridiculous. If you want to know why, ask me and I'll tell you. All right. But it's about low. And then chemical. And when we talk about chemicals, a lot of pieces to that, right? It's things in the air that we can be exposed to, whether it's a mold, pollen, toxic chemicals in your house, VOCs, whatever. And then there's things internal, right? What's our gut like? We have gut dysbiosis. Do we have good guys or bad guys in our gut? Are we eating good food or bad food? Are we eating allergenic inflammatory foods? Are we eating healthy or good foods, right? That makes sense? So those are important things to talk about. We're going to get into that a little bit more. So let me go back to this. So we'll go to the flu vaccine later, Lydia. So next, pesticides, things like that too. Your body's response, chronic inflammation, skin reactions, digestive issues, seasonal allergy flare-up. So there's definitely different things that your body can show you to show you're out of balance. It doesn't always have to be allergies, right? It could be chronic inflammation, chronic joint pain, things like that, other chronic illnesses. It could be skin reactions, eczemas, psoriasis, things like that. Digestive issues, IBS, IBD, whatever, and even seasonal allergy flare-ups is what we're kind of focusing a little bit more on tonight. All right, we talked about chiropractic care, nutritional coaching for detox and inflammation, supportive supplements, and lifestyle guidance. So let's talk a little bit more about those things. So the gut, your gut down here is the most important part of your immune system. That 80% of it's there. So if that is out of balance, your immune system is not going to function well. You're more likely to have an issue like being sick, like a chronic disease, like allergies. So you have to heal the gut. So one of the big things we add in for anyone's protocol that wants to get healthy is things like a probiotic, good bacteria to restore the normal balance of flora in the gut. All right. That is one thing. And early on, when I started learning more about this stuff 20 plus years ago, I started taking probiotics, and that really helped my allergies. So I'll tell you, I found in the late 90s into early 2000s that chiropractic care alone really was very helpful for me helping manage my allergies. And then eventually, once I learned more about probiotics, things like that, I started using that, and that was helpful. But it was never enough. It wasn't until I took the gluten, dairy, and soy out that I realized that was the missing piece. And so I learn as you go, right? I didn't know all this when I got out of school, and they definitely don't teach this to you in school. Maybe they do now, but they didn't 27 years ago when I graduated. But I've learned along the way, and I am the trial and error myself too, right? So once I changed those foods, symptoms just went away. It's pretty amazing how quickly that can do. So a lot of patients will do benefit with chiropractic care. I do some different light therapies, cold laser therapies in my office to help alleviate some symptoms at times, open sinuses, things like that. And then there's nutritionals we can talk about using, and one of the big ones is a probiotic, restoring that gut flora. But I'll tell my patients right off the bat, you really got to cut out the allergenic proteins that are continually to irritate the system underneath, right? So we want to, the three big ones are dairy, wheat, not meat, but wheat, and soy. And then corn goes with that one too, but those are the three big ones. So dairy, just so y'all know, dairy are things that come from a cow's udder, not eggs. Everyone, because they put the eggs in the dairy section, people think that's dairy. Sometimes that's not what we're talking about. Now, if you have an egg, some people are allergic to eggs and those things push them. So that's different for everybody. Wheat is things that are made from wheat that have gluten in it. And the third thing is soy. Those are the three big allergenic proteins. that really crush your body. Now, other things that can do it would be genetically modified foods, seed oils, things that cause inflammation in the body, omega-6 fats. All right. Sorry, something in my eye. I've been cutting up wood to fix my sink that I had a leak under, and I think I got some sawdust in my eye now. Wonderful. Anyway, here we go. I'll be like this the rest of the thing. So we cut those proteins out. And again, if you waited till now to start cutting them out, it's not going to be as effective as if you did it a few weeks ago. Like, I'll occasionally have a cheat in my life because I'm a human being. But come mid-March, once I know things are about to start going, I can't even think about cheating anymore. And I won't have any cheats probably till late June or July, just so I can be really tight. Because once you do it for a little while, you're like, I don't even want to bother having a cheat. But that's just me. But I know if I don't eat those foods, I'm good. Does that mean if I'm in my garden, like smothering my face in pollen, I may not have a reaction? No, there's always a load that anyone can have. There's so much pollen, right? But in general, I have almost no reaction. And if they are, it's very minimal. And I also do take some supplements to help me with that. So there are things in our bodies that are called mast cells. And mast cells are, let me see what Nixon just did. Mast cells are things that your body uses to make histamines and other chemicals that the body uses to fight things. Now, we don't want too much mast cell production or too many chemicals from mast cells, too many histamines, because that causes more of these symptoms, whether you're ill or have an allergy or something like that. So what we try to do, let me see where you put this. Which ticker did you put this on? What we try to do is lower that histaminic load. So we can do that by avoiding foods that are allergenic. So the three big ones we talked about. And again, if you know there's certain foods that you have a reaction to, we maybe cut them back. Or maybe we watch some histaminic foods, strawberries, citrus. You can look up the list of histamine foods. You'll want to smack yourself because there's so many foods you can't eat. But those are foods I would be careful with eating too much of. But we can take things like, I use a product called D-Hist. D-Hist is a product from a company called Orthomolecular that makes a really nice, what's it called? A product that helps stop all the chemicals that come from mast cells, including histamines. Let me go and put this up. If you're interested in that product, you can click on that little link up there and go to FullScript, and you can request that, and I can have it sent. I can have where you can order it. They also make a kids version, which is chewable, which is nice. That's one of the ones I like to use. The other one I like to use is another company called a product called Allergies from a company called Standard Process. So while D-Hist can help with the stuff that comes out of the cells, from the mast cells, Allergies helps stop making mast cells. So you can actually lower some mast cell production with Allergies is a nice product. At least that's what it's supposed to do. And those two things together are a really nice piece for people. They also have a nice product called Allerplex, but I believe that may have some gluten in it, so be careful. But they are another good company I like to work with. On top of that, there are certain types of enzymes you can take with your food. So first of all, I would tell anyone to take a digestive enzyme. I use a product called Digestzymes mostly. If you happen to be a vegetarian or vegan, let me know because we'll have to find you a different one. But the goal is to break your food down more optimally. That's partly what the probiotics do, as well as keep your immune system optimal so you don't have as much allergenic reaction, because when you imbalance the immune system through things like vaccines and antibiotics and stress and certain foods and acidifying foods and kill off your good guys, you imbalance the immune system, so we want to push that back. Because when you push too much towards TH2, you get more allergies too, but I'm not going to bore you to death with that one. But my point is, if you don't break your food down well, you may have more likely to have food allergens or food sensitivities, because your body isn't fully breaking them down. Undigested food particles can get in the body, and body can react to those, and that's another allergenic response. How much load, right? So a digestive enzyme and a probiotic are always great things to take, but there's a specific enzyme you could add in if you want to also minimize your histaminic load, and that's something called HIST-DAO. So basically, it's a DAO enzyme. So there are two ways your body breaks down enzymes histamines in your body. There's intracellular and extracellular. All right. So things like D-Hist will affect the intracellular. But if you want to stop the body from absorbing more histamines from the gut, from foods you might eat, like strawberries and things like that, a DAO enzyme, diamine oxidase, can help to break that down. So I use a product, both Zymogen and Designs for Health both have the nice HIST-DAO or a DAO enzyme that you can get. I think Seeking Health does as well. All available through that link if you want. So these are all things you can take to help. Like, so if I want to, if you're like really want to go after this stuff this naturally this season, get some chiropractic care, get sleep, keep yourself hydrated, manage your stress. All right. Meditation, things like that, all great to help manage stress. Yoga. We have great yoga classes and things like that in our office. But on top of that, supplements, right? We cut out the dairy, the wheat, the soy. And if you're allergic to other foods, cut out those things too. Next, take digestive enzymes and probiotic. If you know you're going to be having some more, perfect, Vincent. If you know you're going to be having some more histaminic type foods, right? You can get the DAO enzymes as well. Okay, take those as well with a meal like that if you're not sure. Other things that create histamines would be leftovers, things like that. So if you just want to minimize your histaminic load, those are things to do. On top of that, get your DHist, get your Allergico, and take those products too. Now, DHist is something when you're really bad, I'll tell people to take 1 to 2 pills every 1 to 2 hours because it can be really helpful. Hold on. Must be. But what I do tell patients, if you're going to use an antihistamine of any type, whether it's natural or artificial, like a drug, over time, you need to watch your stomach acid. So stomach acid needs histamines, okay, that your body, so your body needs histamines for that. Sorry, I got distracted by a message from my producer. So understand that if you lower histamines too much, you might start lowering your stomach acid. You lower stomach acid, you lead to reflux. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch my stomach acid videos. But stomach acid, reflux and heartburn are based on an issue with too little, not too much stomach acid. So if you start taking a lot of antihistamine type products, whether they're natural or medicine, always make sure to take at least once a day. I would have you do apple cider vinegar and water. So I would take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and about a 10 to 12 ounce glass of room temp water and drink that down at least once a day, preferably about 20 minutes before a meal, so we can manage to make sure you don't give yourself a reflux issue like I gave myself a couple of years ago because I cooked so many things lower my histamines that I gave myself a cough and a reflux problem. That's us, by the way. That's the Vitality Center. We did an awesome little rendering of the building in a little differently in a little watercolor there. It's kind of cool. I really like that picture. I'll make it big so you can all see that what my staff did. That's pretty neat. So let me go back to me. James Miller said Hall. I'm not sure what you're saying with that, James. Hope all is well, by the way. So you guys have questions? Oh, hi all. That makes more sense. Well, hi there too. I don't know. I guess that's our stream for when I did the digestive health that Vincent just put up there. Is coffee high in histamines? You know, that's a good question. I don't recall. I know it's very acidic. Again, the more you acidify your body, the more you're going to have an allergenic response. So let me see. Coffee and histamines, because I don't recall. There's so many foods that increase histamines. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. You're going to make me look it up while we're on the phone. Live on here, Stephanie. Is not naturally high in histamines, but certain brewing methods can make it higher in histamines. So how's that? So apparently the way you brew coffee can make it higher in histamines. I don't know if it's about a cold brew versus a drip versus a Keurig. But again, for me, it's about the acid-base balance. So the more you acidify your body, the more you push it the wrong way in its immune dominance, and that state can make you more allergenic, right? So things like antibiotics and being acidic and killing the good guys off and vaccines and all those things that take you from TH1 to TH2 dominance make your body more allergenic to its environment. So again, the less you take those things in your body, the better. It's always good to buy a low acid coffee. That's good. That's good. Again, we always want single source, fair trade, organic as best we can, Stephanie, when it comes to coffee. And again, coffees tend to get mold, so be careful with that. Yeah, and Vince is telling me that decaf can cause other issues due to processing. And that is true because in most cases, I would assume not in the organic cases, but the same chemicals they use to strip the paint off of metal bathtubs is the same chemical they use to clean the caffeine out of coffee. So go for it. Just like, what is it? The the cream in a Twinkie is one processing step away from styrofoam, something like that. See, that's great, Lydia. So chiropractic, you don't need coffee anymore. Listen, I drink ketones. That's my energy. I've never been a coffee guy. Like, I think it's nice and stuff like that, but I'll occasionally have some espresso, but I'm not a coffee guy personally. Some people just love it. I try to get people off it. If you're interested in ketones, like I just mentioned, I'd say you can find those too. That's my energy. That's my focus. And again, the more you do things to lower inflammation in the body, the more you balance your body out better, the better you may be when it comes to allergies. So, being in ketosis is if you look at the research, is shown to be anti-inflammatory. So for me, the more I can be lower inflammation, the better. And we talk about certain inflammatory foods and things like that. Yes, Lydia, I know you do. Any other questions out there, whether you're live or on replay, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or any of our other amazing places, feel free. Again, if you want to know how to get our stuff, I'm not really good at this pointing. You can go to Full Script and click on that. I know Vincent was nice enough to put some of the links up there earlier. But sometimes you can't, in some instances on Full Script, you can look for a product, but then you have to request it from a practitioner for me to send it, so they'll allow you to purchase it. But if you're interested, go use my Full Script, sign up, make an account. If you don't have one, all my patients who sign up, I set up a 10% discount on there for you. So feel free to jump on there. So if that is all, folks, feel free to come on in, get some DHIS, get some Allergigo, get some probiotics, get some digestive enzyme, get some HIS-DAOs, get some ketones, change that lifestyle. If you need help with that and you want someone to help you with that, we do have an amazing nutritionist in the office who can help you with diet and meal planning. So that was a great question. Does local honey help with allergy? So yes, local honey can be helpful. So I tell people, wherever you live, find an organic local honey. You can do that too. That can be really helpful. I find it very helpful when you're in a more acute state, as long as you don't have a bee pollen allergy. And also, one of the go-tos I used to use more was a greens drink. Not that I don't use it anymore. I use it as part of my overall lifestyle, but I don't necessarily have to I don't mega dose it now because I'm usually pretty balanced. But I like a good greens drink because, again, if you're too acidic, you're more likely to be in an allergenic state. You're more alkaline, the better. And when I say alkaline, I don't mean you should be a 8.0 pH in your blood, 7.2, 7.4. So a good way to get yourself balanced, your pH, is have a good greens drink because there's a lot of good nutrition in there too. I happen to like the Metagenics Phytoganics as my go-to because I think it tastes the best and it has a nice breakdown and it's a pretty clean product. There are other great ones out there too. Some taste like dirt, some taste better than others. But that's another good thing too. If you want to keep your system optimal this time of year, have things like that. Stay away from the acidic foods, but bring a little more alkalizers in. Apple cider vinegar is another nice alkalizer of the body and a builder of stomach acid. In nature, it's acidic, in body, it's alkaline. A lot of things like that too, like citrus, but we don't want citrus because that can be a little histaminic. So there's a fine balance. Doesn't mean you can't have a piece of fruit, you can have a strawberry, doesn't mean you can't have an orange. Just realize that what may be going on there. And if you're going to have more histaminic foods, maybe take a DAO enzyme to help break down some of those histamines. And again, you may not just show up as allergies. It could be skin issues, right? I have a good friend I saw recently that she was having a lot of skin issues. She was having a super high histamine mast cell issue, trying to lower that. COVID seemed to pop everyone's mast cell up and their histamines up. That's why it took for me probably almost 2 years to get my immune system back to where it was pre-COVID. That stuff, that old school COVID, the original kind of versions up through Delta, those are pretty stuff. They messed some stuff up. And don't talk about COVID vaccines. So, but that's it, folks. I'm gonna we'll sign off. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you feel anyone else might benefit from this, please spread the love. Put it on your page, put it in your message, and post in a group, whatever. Send the link out to people. Throw someone's eyeballs in front of it. Go on YouTube and like and subscribe. Do all those things that we need to help grow our YouTube channel. And we'll see you all again here next week. So without further ado, I'm gonna put on a little end title screens here as it says, thanks for watching. As always, subscribe, like, comment, share, and we appreciate it. And y'all have a healthy night. Have a great time. This is Dr. Pape coming live from the Vitality Center. Well, for the Vitality Center. Have a great night.